Alright, fellas, welcome back to Lockdown Sports. Tonight's going to be a late night. Tomorrow night's going to be a late night. Couple of semi-finals. And you've probably taken Monday off work. So subscribe if you can. Cricket World Cup. It's happening. Here's my top 5 World Cup performances. Top 5 World Cup performances. Number 5, sorry. Apparently I'm wrong, but I've gone with Mohammad Rizwan. Top scoring against Sri Lanka. Yes, I know it's Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
But they broke the record for the record chase in the World Cup. And I think that's enough to get you onto the top 5 list this World Cup.
No, it's not.
Who?
You're forgetting about the Pakistan-New Zealand game.
Mm.
We had Fakhar Zaman,
Okay.
dominate in a rain-affected game. I know.
Mm.
I know. But to chase that is incredible. 400 plus run. That's incredible. And
Do you think it's like locked in, set in stone that they would have chased it down? 200 for one, obviously. Chasing down 400. Anything can happen. A couple wickets.
anything can happen. We know that. We've seen enough cricket to
So-
say anything can happen. But
Feather
just-
universe.
Yeah, exactly. But just based off what was cooking up, you've got to put it at number 5. Special mention kind of thing.
Alright, number 4. I'm going to extend my bias to our Trans-Tasman friend, Rachin Ravindra. 116 in a loss against Australia. Before you tell me, but Param, they lost. He was under the average when he was bowling, he was under par. And 116 runs against Australia. Probably the second toughest, bowling attack that he's faced throughout the tournament. The way he played, I see a lot of people in this room right now, our age, 1999, 2000, 2001 born, investment banking, finance, economics, medical science, We didn't really follow our dreams, did we?
Fair enough. It didn't have to get too real like that, but fair enough.
We thought Usman would be the guy to sort of change that culture, but I think it's now gone down to Russia.
Yeah, the biggest thing is he's really young, and this is just the start of his career, and to perform at the big stage at this age is just incredible. So honestly, can't argue with you too much there. But it could just be like a year thing, and can't just drop off. Plan.
They're actually just arguing me for the sake of something.
No, I'm just a hater.
You can just agree with me.
Alright, fine.
Number 3, tournament starts. Devon Conway. Okay, New Zealand drew the World Cup with England in 2019. Okay, Devon Conway wasn't even there. Okay, in 2019 he was New Zealand Shield Player of the Year, and they still didn't pick him in the squad. Only got his call up 2 years after that, and then 2 years after that he finally gets to play in the World Cup. Probably the closest thing you can get to revenge against England.
Yeah, great story, and good for Devon Conway. But look, considering how England ended up in the whole World Cup, are you really going to put the performance as up there?
So before the tournament, were you guys thinking England was going to tank?
No. So yeah,
And game 1, Devon Conway unleashed the first of many fucking blows,
I agree.
and the first one's the most important.
No, I agree. Like at the start of the World Cup, it was an insane innings. But now that we're looking back on it and looking at how England's performance
You're
was,
essentially saying the first guy that stabbed this guy wasn't the biggest guy. Like, it's easy to stab a man when he's down. But the man was fighting up at the start of the tournament.
no, it just means that the man that was fighting wasn't really a man; it was a boy. I don't know where we're going with this analogy, but the idea is England wasn't that good in the first place, and we really hyped up it.
Really?
I mean, after the World Cup ended,
Can you not just put it down to a bad tournament? Just a bad
this tournament was so long to say that this was bad tournament. It's not a thing where you meant to the old format where it's like 4 games, group stages, they got knocked out. This is a long tournament. It's had enough time. They played every single team. But look, definitely great innings.
Look, either way, great innings.
Great innings.
Against England, they won 2 out of the last 3 white ball tournaments. Like, you can't tell me, just because they had a bad tournament now, all of that, credit and goodwill goes away.
Okay.
Anyways, number 2, Mohammad Shami. Belter of a tournament. Bowler of the tournament so far. He's the only bowler I have on my list. I think that's fairly obvious with who's coming up.
That's fair.
2 fifers, but the most important game for me was against England. Again, I'm sorry. I just think beating England needs to deserve some sort of respect. 4 for 22, chasing down a low total. I think that's the sort of performance that you sort of think, okay, that's what turns an 8-1 team into a 9-0 team. We're going to talk about India if they win this World Cup. See a lot of nerves in the room, by the way.
Yeah.
But if they win this World Cup, you look at those sort of moments, it turns a great tournament into like the Hall of Fame World Cup run. Okay? And that's sort of performance that just solidifies it. There was no expectation for them to win that game.
No, absolutely. I think the fact that a pace bowler in India has won a game for India is quite surprising. We usually have, the batting for India, usually historically winning games, and for a bowler, for a pace bowler, yeah, honestly, I got no arguments there for you.
Honestly, like, he doesn't want to be first change bowler. He wants to open ball.
Yeah.
So there's, we talked about it in the NBA video. A bit of sacrifice on his end, still getting the job done. Number one, fellas, you know what time it is. 201 runs off 128 balls. Glenn Maxwell. Please try and argue with me. Please try and argue with me.
It was against Afghanistan.
It was against Afghanistan.
Exactly. And he got dropped twice, and the second one was a lolly. Okay. I am
Would you
terrible
have caught it?
I would have caught it. I would have caught
There's
it.
no way. There's no
I
way.
am terrible
There's
at
no way.
fielding. It wasn't high.
Cuz-
It looped up.
Are you talking about the fine leg one?
Yes.
Nah. If you're fielding fine leg, your concentration is gone.
No, I would have caught that one.
Because you're not even walking in. You wouldn't walk in.
That's a general thing because I'm lazy, but I would have still caught that one.
Look, there's a lot of hyperbole.
Yeah.
Sachin said it. Best innings ever, right? At the start, I was thinking the same as you, but honestly, I needed this. Okay, how many times did every Indian uncle come to me and say he's inconsistent, he doesn't deserve to be in the team? The amount of other all-rounders I've had to see Australia field out. Cool tonight. Cameron Green. Ben Cutting. Do you know the amount of Zinger Bales cricket I've had to watch in this team every now and then? Because Glenn Maxwell was quote-unquote inconsistent. And he was. But today is not the day to point out those criticisms. Today is the day to celebrate and cement his legacy, okay? I prayed for a time like this, and it happened. This is as close I'll ever get to divine intervention.
Look, I love Maxi, and it's hard to argue, but if he had gotten out to any of those wickets, we would have still been here talking about inconsistent. If Afghanistan caught it, we would still be arguing inconsistent. But
You
nothing
make
to
your
take
own
away
luck.
from that.
You make your own luck.
Nothing to take away. Just the fact that he was half injured, man was having spasms, didn't move his feet. Again, questionable bowling. I don't know why they actually didn't use that against strategy, but still.
My dad called me up after the game. He was like, they need a ball out wide here. They need to test him.
I think
They need to
everyone
test him.
watching that-
reaching for this ball.
I think every great cricketer, every club cricketer probably was thinking the same thing.
Would you have tried your wide Yorkers on it?
If I had a wide Yorker, yeah, probably. But
What if you just aimed a normal Yorker and let like your natural variation do the rest?
if I had natural variation, I'd
You definitely have natural variation.
Okay,
it's
cool.
called being shit.
Okay, then you would have probably dispatched that.
Exactly. Alright. I think it had, just to sum it up, everything about Ben Stokes' test heroics against Australia you've seen every now and then, and Virat Kohli's back against the wall performance against Pakistan last year in the T20 World Cup. And it just goes to show, one day cricket, not dead. Not dead, fellas. Not dead, fellas. Your attention span, I know TikTok's fucked it up, but you can go 6 hours.
Yes,
You can go 6 hours. Alright, fellas. Stay tuned, stay locked in. If you haven't already, subscribe. We do cricket, basketball, and soccer, football, whatever you want to call it. Videos every week.
F1 soon.
No.